to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Hi, I'm urban Christian artist Kayla James, and you're listening to iLive Radio.
This is Atina, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Hey, this is your boy Easeman. You're listening to iLive Radio, supporting independent artists from around the world.
Are you ready for Rapsalute? We're the #1 hip-hop show in the T-Dot, airing every Monday from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. on iliveradio.com with your host Amber, alongside DJ Shortcut, Chino, Dean, and Caesar Swift on the ones and twos, representing the culture, the lifestyle, the music, and the DJs.
Hey, peace and blessings. This is Lucia D inviting you to join me each and every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. for Honey Drop here on iLive Radio. Journey with me each week as I spin the latest international sounds in new soul, R&B, hip-hop, and a little taste of everything in between. Every show features independent producers from across the globe in the beats beneath, and the 10 sweetest vibes of the week smooth out the night in the 10 drop. Honey Drop, each and every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, here on iLive Radio, serving up audible treats like honey, always with a heavy beat drop.
Attention all musicians, bands, associations, clubs, and organizations that represent collective styles of music across Canada. Now is the time to rebuild our collective Music Nation genres like hip-hop, R&B, jazz, soul, reggae, gospel, and more united. The Collective Music Nation is a non-profit organization committed to the development of collective music. Free memberships are available now. The Collective Music Nation. One voice, strength in unity.
This is Miss Care keeping you connected with your iLive 5x5. Brought to you by iLive Music, sponsored by Independent Hype, and powered by The Hook Entertainment. Contribute to the conversation by using hashtag iLive5x5.
For the latest and greatest in soul music and more, stay tuned to iLive Radio throughout the week.
Connect with our team at iliveradio.com or follow us at iLive Radio across social platforms.
Ray Hendricks, Slipping into Darkness on iLive Radio. It is my pleasure to welcome you each and every Wednesday between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. to Slipping into Darkness, my selection of sublime jazz and conversations with very special guests. Tune in each and every Wednesday between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. to Slipping into Darkness on iLive Radio. iLive Radio.
Hi, this is Miss Law. Tune in to Talks Honest every Sunday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. on iLive UK, discussing topics often thought of but never spoken. That's Sundays, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on iLive UK.
Music back to back on iLive Radio.
Welcome to iLive Radio. Hi, I'm ODJ, your host from Amalgamation in Sound. Join me every Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m. where I'll bring you the very best in UK soul, house, broken beat, and everything in between. Remember to join in every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m. for Amalgamation in Sound. See you there.
Hey, peace and blessings. This is Lucia D inviting you to join me each and every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. for Honey Drop here on iLive Radio. Journey with me each week as I spin the latest international sounds in new soul, R&B, hip-hop, and a little taste of everything in between. Every show features independent producers from across the globe in the beats beneath, and the 10 sweetest vibes of the week smooth out the night in the 10 drop. Honey Drop, each and every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, here on iLive Radio, serving up audible treats like honey, always with a heavy beat drop.
Attention all musicians, bands, associations, clubs, and organizations that represent collective styles of music across Canada. Now is the time to rebuild our collective music nation genres like hip-hop, R&B, jazz, soul, reggae, gospel, and more united. The Collective Music Nation is a non-profit organization committed to the development of collective music. Free memberships are available now. The Collective Music Nation. One voice, strength in unity.
What's up, London? This is the Ladies' Choice, DJ Mixmaster Caesar, coming to you straight from the 6 with the Red Planet Mix Show. Every Saturdays, 10 p.m. until midnight, spinning in the best music in hip-hop, R&B, soca, reggae, and top 40, exclusively on iLive UK, changing the way you listen to radio.
Join the Music Collective family every Sunday for the Sunday Vibe from 12 till 4 on iLive Radio. For the best in quality music, special theme shows quarterly, and the infamous End of the Month show, when the Music Collective family get together for fun and frolics. So don't miss out on your Sunday Vibe on iLive Radio via the TuneIn app or the iLive mobile app. See you Sunday. Music Collective Sunday Vibe on iLive Radio.
This is Miss Care keeping you connected with your iLive 5x5. Brought to you by iLive Music, sponsored by Independent Hype, and powered by The Hook Entertainment. Contribute to the conversation by using hashtag iLive5x5.
For the latest and greatest in soul music and more, stay tuned to iLive Radio throughout the week.
Connect with our team at iliveradio.com or follow us at iLive Radio across social platforms.
Taxman here. I invite you to join me each and every Thursday between the hours of 5 and 7 p.m. right here on iLive Radio, where we give you the very best in independent and neo-soul flavors. We also feature the UK Top 20 Independent Soul Chart, counting you down from number 20 all the way down to number 1. Why not check us out every Thursday between the hours of 5 to 7 right here on iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to music.
Join me, Sims Mode, for that Saturday vibe every Saturday between 4 and 6 p.m. on iLive UK, giving you 2 hours of music, talk and discussions, competitions, interviews with guests, local, national and international from all walks of life. So keep it iLive UK for that Saturday vibe.
Hey doing guys, this is DJ Magic J with the lovely
Shay
and the one and only DJ Express.
Catch us each and every Tuesday night on
iLive UK
with the show called
Who Loves Afrobeats,
and we're gonna give you the best flavors in Afrobeat music, entertainment news from the lovely endurance from Nigeria. So make sure you tune in each and every Tuesday night from the hours of 9 p.m. to
12 a.m.
on iLive UK. Who Loves Afro?
What's good? This is your girl, Drea Ivy, introducing my new show, Ivy Talks, the dopest podcast coming out of the beautiful city that is Miami, Florida, featuring the best artist interviews, covering the illest events in the city as we propel the culture of hip-hop and R&B. Make sure to check out Ivy Talks each and every Monday from 11 p.m. to midnight on iLive UK, changing the way you listen to radio. Let's talk.
Vibes and Vinyl is here every Friday live at 8 p.m. on iLiveRadio.com. Formerly of Toronto's FM radio airwaves, DJs Gene King and Ray Prasad are in the house once again to continue their tradition, promoting great house music to the world. You will hear exclusive releases and sometimes traveling back in time via some of the best disco, soul, funk, and house. So keep it locked and enjoy the ride. DJs Gene King and Ray Prasad have provided their listeners since 1996. Vibes and Vinyl in your face.
Ready to start your Saturday night? Tune in to the Beats and Bass Show here on iLive Radio with me, DJ Deep Sound. Delve into the sounds of 140 deep dubstep, drum and bass, house, and many genres. Spinning something different every week, featuring special guest DJs and artists. The the Beats and Bass Show, weekly from 2 to 4 p.m. UK time, here on iLive Radio. Be there or be square.
Hey, what's going on, everybody in cyberspace? This is the Groove Show with your boy, the crowd pleaser, DJ Mark Anthony. Don't forget, each and every Saturday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m., we want to put you in the mood for whatever the night has in store. I'm playing only the best feel-good party rocking, body-shaking music from funk to soul to reggae to R&B, house to salsa, and much, much more. We call it the Groove each and every Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. Keep it locked. It's the crowd pleaser, baby. You know how we do. We'll see you on the air. Peace.
Attention à tous les musiciens, groupes, associations, clubs et organisations qui représentent les styles collectifs de musique à travers la Canada. Le moment est venu de reconstruire nos genres de nations musicales collectives comme le hip-hop, le R&B, le jazz, le soul, le reggae, le gospel et plus unis. La Nation de la musique collective est une organisation à but non lucratif engagée dans le développement de la musique collective. Des adhésions gratuites sont disponibles dès maintenant. La Nation de la musique collective, une seule voix, la force dans l'unité.
Hey. Hello and welcome. It's your girl Claude, aka Miss Out, right here on iLive UK. Be sure to tune into my shows each and every Saturday between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. My shows are called The Independent Injection because you can expect to hear deep and meaningful, fresh neo and bassline soul, slow jams and gospel mixed with a little bit of nostalgia. I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.
Attention à tous les musiciens, groupes, associations, clubs et organisations qui représentent les styles collectifs de musique à travers la Canada. Le moment est venu de reconstruire nos genres de nations musicales collectives comme le hip-hop, le R&B, le jazz, le soul, le reggae, le gospel et plus unis. La Nation de la musique collective est une organisation à but non lucratif engagée dans le développement de la musique collective. Des adhésions gratuites sont disponibles dès maintenant. La Nation de la musique collective, une seule voix, la force dans l'unité.
Hey. Hello and welcome. It's your girl Claude, aka Miss Out, right here on iLive UK. Be sure to tune into my shows each and every Saturday between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. My shows are called The Independent Injection because you can expect to hear deep and meaningful, fresh neo and bassline soul, slow jams and gospel mixed with a little bit of nostalgia. I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.
Yes. Welcome, everyone, to the Music is Everything podcast. It is another exciting Sunday evening. Welcome. I want to welcome everyone who is watching on Mixcloud, on the iLive Radio platform, as well as everyone who's tuned into the iLive Radio Radioverse. I want to thank everyone for jumping in. And yes, it's your host, DJ Elegance. We have a very exciting guest who will be joining us this evening, and I'll be bringing him very shortly. But I hope that everyone has had a blessed Sunday. Everyone has had a great weekend. And yes, at this time, I'm going to bring in our guest for this evening. DJ D. Jones, are you there?
I am. What's going on?
Yes, I'm good. I can hear you. 1 second here.
Sure.
Get my levels. I got to get my levels. So welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Really excited to be here. Definitely happy to connect with a fellow DJ and also hopefully talk to the community, DJ communities, everybody up there in Canada and abroad, and everybody here that's listening also in the U.S. So thank you for having me. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Yes. No, I'm grateful that you were able to jump on, and that's what we do this for. We do this for the DJs. We do this for other event professionals, people in the club, corporate wedding and music industry. So that's why we're here. And I know you're doing some big things. So I definitely wanted to get you on and have appreciated some of our conversations. So why not? So here we are, right?
Indeed, indeed.
Well, let me give you a warm round of applause for coming on the pod tonight. Hold on.
Yay!
Yes. And before we begin, I just wanted to shout out my two sons, Braylon and Bryant. I love you. Daddy loves you. I know you're listening. Please be good for mommy. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here on the Music is Everything podcast. Appreciate everyone tuning in. And we are here with DJ D Jones. We're going to kind of tease his bio throughout our conversation. But what I can say is that he has been booked and trusted to do some of Chicago's most discerning, to work with some of Chicago's most discerning clients, and has become well-reviewed and highly recommended doing events in Chicago, Chi-Town. And anyone who knows me, even though I live in Toronto, Canada, the Six as we call it, T-Dot, that's also a nickname for sort of the OGs and older heads. Chicago is Toronto's sister city, and it is also actually the city of my favorite football team, which is the Chicago Bears. Anyone who knows me knows that I've been a Bears fan for the last, I'm dating myself, easily the last 25 plus years. DJ D Jones, he's crafted his signature open format style for upscale clients at private and corporate events. And he has quickly developed a reputation for painting soundtracks for celebrity, company, and charitable focused events. So I'm glad you're here, brother. I am glad you're here. Let's dive into things. You know, I guess a question I like to ask is, how did all this stuff start for you, kind of the DJ game? I know people have different entry points into this amazing field, but how did your love of DJing start?
I've always been a fan of sharing music with people since a young age. Like, I used to make tapes back in the day and share those with people. I used to sell like tapes and CDs and stuff like that when I was like in high school. But I went to school for radio, television, broadcasting. Got sidetracked into a marketing, promotion kind of track, working with a couple of major record labels back in the day, like MCA, a few independents as well. Kind of left the radio DJ thing alone for a while, but I always DJ'd at home like as a hobby. I would buy equipment. I wouldn't really be good at it, so I would buy equipment, get bored, and then sell it. I never really practiced a lot. It wasn't until like 2008 that I began to take DJing seriously. I was working for a company, and I was supposed to relocate, actually. And 2008 was everything when the economy kind of fell apart here in the U.S.
Yeah.
And there was a big recession, and so I didn't get to relocate. Sorry about that. I didn't get to relocate, and but they gave me a severance, actually. I still had my job, but they didn't promote me to the position that I was going to get. So I took that severance money and invested in some basic DJ equipment.
Okay.
Put myself on a schedule where I would basically practice. I committed to practicing 20 hours a week in the basement. And it didn't matter, like I wasn't doing like a rigid schedule where it's like 4 hours for 5 days or, 5 hours, 4 days. Literally, some days I would just go to the basement and stay for like 10 hours.
Wow.
And then I would do it again, until I got about 20 hours in. So I just committed to myself. Back then, I wanted to be more of a club, cool, mixtape DJ. Matter of fact, the very first dollar I ever got DJing was for doing mixtape work from a guy named Classic out of Michigan. And so I was doing that. But then as I got confident in my skills, like everybody's online streaming now because of the pandemic and venues being closed. But I actually started streaming on like Ustream and Livestream. There was a channel called, it was Livestream. And so it was Ustream and it was Livestream, but I was mostly on Ustream. I used to do this show called The Blackout Show. And I got my confidence up there. So when I was ready to branch out, and to doing regular events and parties and things like that. I didn't like the club vibe because I felt like the club vibe was very, the wages were low in this city, and the competition was kind of like undercutting. It was all about undercutting. So you couldn't just have your price. And so I didn't like that. And so as a business person and being a little bit more seasoned, coming into the DJ game, I looked at, like any other business should do, I looked at finding a niche. And so I began to take the same club style music and ways of DJing into private events and experienced a lot of success with that pretty much right off the bat because people had a low standard of what you could expect when you booked a DJ for like your birthday party or your wedding or your corporate event. They just expected you to come out and just play a song from beginning to end and just play music basically with some speakers. But I didn't do that. I DJ'd the way I really wanted to DJ, which is club style in any event. And it went over well. And then that combined with like good business practices. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you can maybe further articulate for our audience sort of what does that mean when you say doing it club style? Just because I think people who may not be DJs listening wouldn't kind of get that sort of more DJ related lingo or way to describe something. Sure. So if you just delve a little bit deeper just to kind of break that down.
Absolutely. So club style is basically your technique. So if you've ever been to a party or an event and a DJ is playing every single song, like from beginning to end and just passively fading out to the next song, that's the complete opposite of what I do. So I'm probably playing closer to like 30 songs an hour at a lot of the events I do. That's like in and out of a lot of records. I'm giving you the best part of most songs.
Right.
So there's cutting, there's a little scratching every now and then, depending on the type of event. I'm not a turntablist, but I do have some essential skills that will, be above average, if you will. So cutting and scratching is part of that. It's just your style. It's actually letting people know that you're manipulating their music. So if you're listening, you'll be like, okay, this person's controlling what's happening, not just playing music. So club style is basically being hands-on as you're DJing live with the music you're playing.
Right. No, I appreciate that. So I think, a lot of people think that a DJ is sort of basically a button pusher, but I love what you said about really manipulating the way in which you're playing the records and how you're going through records really, really fast. I had a really pleasant experience last night. I was actually fortunate to be doing a wedding. I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the scene of what's happening in Chicago in a minute. But before I get there, I wanted to actually ask you, like, what do you enjoy most about DJing? Because at this point now, this is my 15th episode on the podcast, and I know thank you. I know for someone like yourself, as you mentioned, you've been doing this since 2008. So it's kind of like what would still drive you? Because I would feel like at this point, technically, you can't. I mean, obviously, we can always improve, but at the same time, you know how to mix. So, what do you get the most fulfillment, and what do you enjoy most about DJing? Actually, lugging all the gear and doing everything. What do you love about it?
Okay, so first and foremost, what I don't like lugging gear. I don't like any of the gear stuff. I like buying gear, cool gear, and all of that. But I don't deal with my gear anymore. So I actually have AV people that handle that. So when none of the DJs that work on my team actually set up and break down equipment.
That's awesome.
If I had to do that, honestly, bro, I don't think that I couldn't work like I work, because physically I got to a point where I was booking so much and like so many gigs in such a compact amount of time, and I was doing things by myself. I remember like in December 2014, finishing up a New Year's party. And then I looked, and back then I had like maybe 80 gigs booked already going into January of 2015.
Wow.
And so
beast mode.
I was just like, yo, there's no way that I can physically make it through another year. And ever since then, I've been working with an assistant now more of an AV person, less of an assistant. So what do I like though?
Yeah, talk to us.
I'm weird. So my biggest thing, I actually kind of get like a big kick out of playing in cool venues. So I'm a big a venue guy. Like any place I haven't DJ'd at before that's like extremely nice, large, I get off on that. That's like my thing. Like venues, like it's a checklist. Like
the venue porn.
Yeah, exactly. So like when I'm downtown, like with my kids or whatnot, we're just driving down Michigan Avenue. I'll be like, yo, I played there. Oh, I DJ'd in there. I forgot I DJ'd in there. I like that.
That's the best.
That's like the personal thing I like. The other part is when I like doing private events and working with clients from the idea all the way to the last song.
Right.
Because people are very passionate. Like a lot of people you have event planners, but you also have people that don't throw parties every month or once a year or anything. These events are big deals for a lot of people.
Right.
So they're investing a lot. They're trusting the people they hire. And so it's nothing more fulfilling to me to meet someone who has a vision and then to put together the entertainment piece and knock it out the ballpark for that person and see them happy at the end of the night. I really still enjoy that. I provide a service, and I like the service that I provide. I am probably more service oriented than business oriented, as far as like I have some, I know of people in the business that are hardcore about like numbers and getting every single dollar out of a situation that they can, and that's fine. I understand we do have to take care of our businesses, stay afloat, stay open, et cetera, et cetera. And it takes money to make money, but I honestly enjoy just making people happy. It's a gratifying job. That's another reason why I am more private event focused in clubs and bars, because a lot of times when you DJ at a bar or club, it's ungratifying. Yeah, people dance, but when the lights come on, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's very ungratifying for me.
I definitely can relate. I think obviously getting to know you over the years, seeing your IG and seeing like there's obviously a different energy that I get from your page as opposed to like another DJ's page, and I think you can see that yes, there is a passion there, and that it looks like some of the little nuances that I see, like for example, you know what I mean, like you have like a gold microphone, and it sort of shows like these little nuances and attention of your brand and what your personality really. And yes, in a club environment, people are definitely not going to appreciate that. So I think that those are some really cool things. I wanted to pause real quick. I'm on my Facebook here doing a Facebook Live as we're talking. I just wanted to hail up some people. Dahlia, Andrea, I believe my cousin's watching. Everyone else who's watching, if I didn't call your name. Everyone on iLive Radio. Right now we're here with DJ D Jones, one of Chicago's great DJs from the U.S., and we're talking about the event industry, his early beginnings, being a special event and profile DJ, and talking about a lot of those other things throughout the evening. So one question I had for you, Darrell, is I guess obviously we're in the midst of a pandemic. I've talked with some friends, and they're talking about how the music industry is dead. What's the point of DJing? All this kind of stuff. So I guess my question for you has been, I've seen some tricklings lately of some nights out that you've been DJing, but just sort of overall in terms of COVID, like what have you been doing just in regards to DJing? Have you been doing live streams? Have you been just chilling, working on other elements of your brand? I know with a lot of different DJs, they're doing so many different things, particularly with this sort of global reset or time off or time out, I guess, if you want to call it that. People are kind of discovering new elements of their business or even new interests. So for yourself, though, in terms of COVID, like, what have you been doing to kind of stay sharp or keep your, skills active? What have you been doing?
Well, first and foremost, I did add the director of rescheduling to my resume. So
Nice.
I've learned how to successfully reschedule clients. Definitely have done that. You know what?
Hold on a second,
like
Darrell. Hold on a second now. Hold on. I had to give you a sound effect for that one. Director of rescheduling. I like that.
Yes, that is on my resume now. You know what? I started, like I mentioned earlier, I started doing live streams like years ago, and I hopped in it for a minute, and I didn't really enjoy doing live streams. Just to be frank, I'm a type of person, I only do what I'm moved to do when it comes to like music and stuff. And so I was really trying to get into like the OBS, the graphics and all of that. So I mastered that. And if you go like through any of like the old like videos like in my timeline from like months ago, you'll see I had all these cool graphics. So once I mastered that, then I was like done. Like I didn't really want to do it. So I've done live stream parties, like Zoom parties for a few clients, not a lot, but a few. I have a couple coming up still. We got back to working out in the real world as early as mid-June.
Yes, I remember.
When restrictions were kind of rolled back.
I remember seeing your IG, and I have to admit, I was slightly jealous because things in Canada, we were still on lockdown at that point. I think it was only in July we reached a phase 3, which meant that sort of more restaurants, bars, and other venues just in general started to open. But yeah, talk to me about what was happening in June. So you started getting some quote unquote real work again, right? And how was that for you jumping back in?
So one of my clients is a bar. We book like, I don't know, 20 to 30 dates a year, maybe more, a year there. And we got back to doing that. They actually were fortunate enough to have an outdoor patio. So here people could congregate outdoors, but not inside. So it was a little less restrictive outdoors. So we were able to do Friday and Saturday nights there. We've been able to do that since June. Weddings came back. We didn't do our first wedding until the very first week in August. August, I suppose, is going to be our hot month this year. Instead of having like 25 weddings on the books, we actually still did 7 weddings in August, which I'm happy about.
Hey. Big up yourself. It was a combination
of myself, my team. Perry Dante did a wedding. DJ Pharaoh did a wedding. DJ One Chance, he did weddings, and I also did a couple weddings also in the month of August. September, I think I did like 2 weddings, and maybe DJ One Chance probably did like 1 or 2. This month, honestly, bro, like October, we're back down to like one wedding on the calendar that's coming up next Saturday. Everyone else is postponed. The big thing this year everybody was talking about is pivoting.
Yeah.
And I've got some friends that have done some amazing, cool things to keep their name out. All kind of things I've seen. And I hats off to those guys. But if you followed my brand, I've always built myself before I started working as a team with other DJs. I've always built myself as an upscale DJ, upscale, open format, club style DJ.
Right.
Particularly, specifically servicing clients that want more of an upscale experience. And that's just not in the music. That's in the service from beginning to end, from when they come and sit down in my office until the last part of the night. And we keep everything classy. So I asked myself and just made a conscious decision like, what do luxury brands do?
Right.
Do luxury brands change with what's going on in current events? Maybe they do some things like, this is a safety thing. So yeah, when we go out, I have I put together what I call a sani box, as a sanitation box.
Okay.
Yeah, we're being safe when we go out, but I'm not changing. I don't want to change my brand.
Right.
I don't want to do anything that is not core to what I feel like I got into this for. So I just kind of fell back with all of the looking for pivots, trying to stay as active as possible online. Now I just said this earlier today, like, I think I'm going to go online and DJ.
Yeah.
But that's just because I want to. It's not because I'm pushed or feel pressured. Honestly, bro, since March 14th, when I thought the sky was falling down and everything was ending, we have still booked literally every week like 2 to 3 weddings a week since March.
Wow, that's incredible.
And so I think we might have had like 1 week where we did not book a wedding since COVID.
No,
so
that's amazing.
Those are not our normal numbers, but it's enough to let me know that I built a strong brand that speaks for itself when people do their research and look, to not have to feel like, yo, when things get back to normal, we're going to be in trouble. To be honest, everything just moved to next year.
Yeah.
And so if we can make it out of this year to next year, I feel like my team will be good. Like, I feel like the brand will be good.
No, I appreciate you sharing that. There's a couple ways I want to go with this. Part of me wants to kind of inquire when you mentioned that some DJs were kind of reinventing themselves. I was just wondering if you can maybe briefly talk a little bit about a couple of things that you feel people may have decided to do that you've seen from your team. Like, could you maybe articulate a little bit on a couple things that people may have done?
Oh yeah. So I've seen one of my friends, I'll say the good people over at the DJ firm, man, they done some awesome stuff. They actually, so they had a cargo van. They retrofitted their cargo van with sound. And so they do these pop-up events. They literally just pull up on people, open the doors, rip out the DJ equipment and start DJing wherever. Like, they pull up at parks, wherever people are congregating at. And I think that's awesome, man. I think people need that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's great. I've got like people on my team that have really made great strides and made a huge impact just DJing online for themselves. Perry Dante, in COVID, he's gone on to win the Red Bull Remix Challenge. When World opens back up, he's going to Moscow. That was all online, virtual. He's DJ'd for shows in like the UK online. I've done some stuff with Direct Music Service, DMS.
Okay.
But he's done all of that in COVID.
And I follow his page now because I noticed that I think maybe within the last year you kind of welcomed him to the team. So I've been following him. I mean, he goes ham on that beat board, that beat pad board. I'm not sure exactly what the name of it is, but I've seen him doing some routines on there and like really, really impressive. And that's cool. Congrats to him. And that's really awesome that members of your team have taken advantage of the off time, right? So
yeah, I think that's the key. The game is to be able to figure out what works best, because just similar to what you said earlier, everyone has a different route to this career field we call DJing.
Right.
But everybody's story gives them a different position. One of the things I did do and innovate during this time, I started a new tech venture I'm doing with 2 other guys outside of the music field. It's called ShowFi. And ShowFi basically is going to be and then you can go to the site now if you're listening, showfi.tv. But ShowFi is going to be an all-inclusive music community that features music and content from artists from all levels, from your A, B, C, even your brand new artists that are starting out. We're featuring music, interviews, content from those people, but we're also going to create what we call the 360-degree ShowFi live experience.
Okay.
So instead of showing people live concerts,
this is the way to go.
In a one-dimensional way, there's going to be like multiple angles. You'll be able to see backstage. You'll be able to see the green room. So we're working on that. We're in our early phases, but we just pretty much brought the first rendition of the site live to build some traction like 2 weeks ago.
And what's the coordinate? You said show 5. So is that SHOW 5, or how do you spell that?
So it's SHO F like Frank I, showfi.tv.
Show5. So sorry, SHOF
I.
Yeah.
.tv.
.tv. Okay.
Yep.
So showfi.tv. So everyone listening, make sure you check that out. And it sounds really impressive. It's funny. I remember so long ago reading an article from a music executive, and I wish I had saved the article, but he was basically talking about how in the future, literally we're talking 2000 and I would say 11, 2000. So about like under a decade ago. And he was mentioning how the concept of streaming and Facebook well, maybe it wasn't even Facebook. It was just the concept of streaming or video recording a concert, that the record industry, that they can really rein in a lot of capital and a lot of interest and really maximize an event because it's being streamed, and that they can sell it sort of like a pay-per-view. And I remember reading the article, and I was almost thinking to myself, what planet did this guy come from? Because for so long we'd been working under that model of, well, you pay and then you show up. I mean, why would we stream a concert? Why would we do a live air to broadcast of a concert? No, you just wait until it comes to your city. But now, obviously with this reset, what you're about to embark upon, I think, is just a great example of being innovative and resourceful and finding a way to maximize an opportunity, right? Because now anyone around the world can watch a concert. You don't have to be there. So I think we're seeing that with sort of these IG lives and these versus battles and stuff like that. So good for you. This is an awesome thing. I wanted to jump in quickly. I was just kind of reading some stuff today around the scene in Chicago. So for everyone who's joining us, we are chatting with DJ D Jones. He's a hot commodity and a very in-demand DJ in Chicago. And this is Chicago, USA. Blessed to have him here on the Music is Everything podcast with myself, DJ Elegance, on the iLiveRadio.com community. He has a very unique style and personality in terms of his brand and how he engages his clients. One thing I wanted to just transition slightly to is, like, what's the scene in Chicago like? So I know that you had mentioned things had been open since around June. I was reading an article just earlier today, and it was talking about how 90% of businesses and bars will close in the next 6 months without government intervention. I read something around the Chicago Independent Venue League. It's a coalition of around 40 independent music venues across the city that they're expecting potentially a return in spring or summer of 2021. But I was wondering if you could maybe speak to the scene in Chicago, maybe just from I mean, there's many perspectives, but I just wanted to get your perspective. Are you seeing lots of venues closing? Are people kind of hanging on desperately? It sounds like you're still busy, but how about some of your peers? Like, I'm just wondering sort of what the pulse and temperature's like down there in Chi-Town.
I think that venues are having a very hard time because venues have overhead that oftentimes they're in the downtown Chicago area. Rent is very expensive. Staffing these places are expensive. And when you get to the point where you only can have like 10 patrons in at a time or sitting on a small patio, they're struggling. There are a lot of businesses going out of business.
Right.
A lot of restaurants, hospitality type businesses have taken huge hits. I do think when this is all said and done, there's going to be a changing of the guards as far as like places we go to eat, places we go to party. I do think that those who were at DJ specifically, DJs that were working a lot prior to COVID, I think they have found ways to work as much as they can. I don't think there's any DJ in this city, excuse me, that is working like they used to work because there's no place to work at that level.
Right.
However, those who were putting the actual work in and had branded themselves to a point to where they're at the top of their type of clients list, they are getting work. Like I see DJs in the city that are working pretty much regularly. They're doing day parties now. Everyone's adjusting. There are no clubs open till 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Maybe they close at 11. So now they're doing day parties. You know, you got people DJing from 2 to 6,
right,
2 to 4 in the afternoon. I do think it's a tough transition. Unfortunately, I think that some of the people who came into this COVID situation as business owners and entertainers in this city, they may not be able to return. They have to make a living, and right now it's tough for those who can't. There's no just picking up. I mean, I remember pre-COVID. I mean, honestly, every other day, or if not every day, there was like an inquiry. There were inquiries, and there's no inquiries anymore. So you just really, it's kind of like you're in the slow lane.
Things kind of dried up. I'm curious. I know that there was like a bit of a stimulus given to individual residents. I guess like $1,200, I believe it was. Was that like one time, or is that every month for U.S. residents?
Man, listen, that's one time. For those who did
goodness, one time. Damn,
they have been negotiating.
You need to move up here. You need to move up here. We were getting $2,000 per month. We had a Canadian emergency response benefit, so we were getting that for every month. And then now in October, they're changing it to more of an employment insurance model. I still have to do a little bit of research. I'm feeling slightly confused by the new model. I believe now, don't quote me, but I believe now you're again getting $500 per week. But I believe if you earn, then they deduct it for future payments. But our government really stepped in. You may be aware, may not, but Toronto, I believe, is North America's 4th largest city. So there's probably around, I think, directly in the city, around 6 million people. And I think maybe in the greater surrounding area, I might be off a little bit, but I think directly Toronto and outside is around 6 to 7 million people. So our government kind of stepped in. Toronto's kind of it's arguable, but it's kind of the mecca of Canada, at least in my mind, in terms of banking, commerce, finance, telecommunications, hospitals. Like Toronto is really the big Willie, if you will, for Canada. So, but yeah, our government stepped in and really helped out. So that has to be awfully tough for a lot of individuals in terms of how people are trying to make ends meet, right?
Well, we did have some other opportunities outside of that $1,200 stimulus check. If you were a gig working employee, or I think if you're on unemployment period, you could have qualified for what they call PUA, pandemic. I forget what the U stand for, pandemic something assistance, and that would have added an extra $600 a week to your state unemployment benefits.
Okay.
So, but that ended. Let's notate it ended July 31st. So it ran basically, I guess, through April, if give or take, through July 31st. So they have been negotiating in D.C. since July 31st and to today, and they still do not have anything else out there for people. There were other programs for business owners that business owners could have taken advantage of. There was the PPP program, which is basically the Paycheck Protection Program. And basically what that was designed to do is give employers who had employees financial assistance so they could continue to keep their employees on staff for an additional 8 weeks.
Okay.
But that's pretty much exhausted, right?
Right. No, at least it's a little something.
It was something. And then they also had the EIDL, which came from the Small Business Association program. That gave business owners an opportunity to apply for a very low interest loan from the small business, like a pandemic loan. And I think it was like the percentage, the interest rate is super low, and it's payable over 30 years. There was some help out there, but for a lot of people in this business, the gig workers, the DJs specifically, honestly, most DJs, and I talk to every DJ about business first. Like, I've always approached everything I've done as a DJ as a business.
Right.
Like, I've done very few gigs over the years without a contract, right? From day one, business. So I've always told DJs, you are a business, you should establish yourself as such. So if you were not established as that,
Yeah, now's the time to do that.
Definitely, because they're probably feeling the fact that they don't have their paperwork and stuff in order because they need that to get some of these things that were out there originally.
Right. No, that's
at the beginning of this.
It's a good point. So speaking of business, I want to transition some things here with our conversation. It's been kind of great getting a sense of what's happening down there, the climate, and obviously it sounds like you're, despite what's been going on, you've been very busy, right? So I wanted to ask you, I know there's DJ D Jones, right? There's your brand, how you've kind of molded yourself into this entertaining DJ. So I guess like Spark Entertainment, when did that start? Was it exactly the same time, or was this an entity that you formed a little bit later on?
This was later on. This was funny. Like I think like Gemini Jones, who I still rock with, no relation, but she's one of the best female DJs or DJs period. She's one of my favorites actually.
Okay.
But she knew when I was trying to figure out like, yo, I'm getting these bookings, but I'm already booked. I'm double booked, and I need to book other DJs for events. So maybe I'll call it the Jones Agency, right? Then it was like, nah, you need to take your name off of it because I want something that's going to outlive me. And I want something that's going to be universal without me actually having to be the front runner, right? So I was just like, yo, Spark Entertainment Group. I did not launch. I came up with that maybe in 2017, and I was using it for like everything but weddings.
Okay.
So whenever there was a gig that needed to be booked, I didn't have a website, but I say, hey, I have a couple other DJs I work with, and I would convince the clients that were willing to book those other DJs.
Right.
And so in 2019, May of 2019, that's when I made it a separate business, separate LLC, and rolled out the Spark Entertainment Group. Got a plan going with the DJs I work with to do specifically weddings. It's really just an extension. Weddings is the bulk of what we do collectively as a Spark Entertainment Group.
And I'm just wondering if you can talk to us about, so like what's sort of the mission statement? What's the goal? I mean, what's different about Spark Entertainment?
I would say what's different about our brand is, in a world for the wedding client specifically, and for private, I'm not going to say just wedding clients. So for private clients, weddings, corporate events too, I'm going to say like what makes us different is that we actually care about actually giving people a great time, like to the point where we're competitive with ourselves. Like
that's good.
I know that when I have another one of our DJs go somewhere, they're not just like, yeah, let me go ahead and do these 4 hours so I can get this money. They actually want to have a slamming party. Everybody on the team also understands customer service.
Right.
I have a very personal rapport with a lot of my clients, meaning I have a toll-free number that they could call at any time, but they can also text. Communication is key when you work with us. We don't do like weekends. Well, it's the weekend, we're not communicating. You know, it's me. I also have a office manager. She works remote, but she handles a lot of our communications when we're busy.
Okay.
So there's always somebody talking to people within a very reasonable amount of time. We're very hands-on, honestly, and I'm just sincere with people. Like one of my things I tell people in my consultations, yo, we have lights. Yeah, we got smoke. We got photo booth. But I'm not a salesman. Tell me what it is you're looking for.
Right.
If I go see your space and do a walkthrough and I think lighting might help, sure, I'll say, hey, maybe you should consider doing uplighting. But it's not my goal to give you and sell you everything I have for your event. My goal is to book you the best DJ that you can get. And I think that's what makes us different. The other thing that makes us different is I focus on getting and having relationships with DJs that are verified, vettable, like people that are really heavily. I won't work with the DJ if they don't have an established brand of their own, actually.
Right.
So I want clients to go Google. I remember I used to work for, like when I first started doing weddings, I worked for a company. I won't say their name, but I worked for a company for like 3 weddings. And it used to frustrate me because the salesperson would call from New York and they would be like, hey, we got this client. Can you talk to them tonight at 6? Sure. I could not tell the people who I was as a DJ. I couldn't say I was DJ D Jones. I had to be Darrell. Then the client would say, well, hey, do you have any mixes? I would say, sure, but how do I give somebody information to my mixes if I can't tell them I'm DJ D Jones?
Right.
So I had to sell the event. I had to consult with the client, do the walkthrough, all the while not telling them about a brand that I had already built. Not that I would want to take my client. My agreement with the company was my agreement. The point is, people who have, there's a lot of clients out there that want to book qualified, quality, professional DJs that are actually really DJs, not just weekend warriors.
Right.
No, I mean, our whole team is solid. Like, they're always doing a bunch of other things outside of the Spark Entertainment Group, and that's how I like it. We're solid,
right,
when it comes to talent.
No, I think it's really important, right? I think, I mean, like yourself, I mean, I do this full time. There's a couple of other businesses that I run. I have a DJ academy where I teach young people the art of DJing, and I also run a program in schools as well, an arts-based initiative where we use the arts to work with young people. But I find when I mention these things to a client that their eyes kind of really perk up. They're like, wow, like we can tell that you're really passionate about what you do, and we can tell that you really, really love what you're doing. And I think to your point as well, like working with DJs that have a very strong brand, I think it really speaks volumes to someone's commitment. If you're committed to yourself, then for sure, when you're going to be doing making a commitment with someone else, it stands to reason that you will also be just as committed, if not more, because you want to leave a really memorable impression and experience, right? And I think it's awesome that with your brand that you're looking for DJs and entertainment that is really committed. One of the things I always mention to a bride and groom on my end in a consult is that I recognize that this is literally a top 5 life moment for you. And so, yeah, you want to put everything into it, right? For the client to ensure that they have a truly memorable experience. So I like a lot of things that I'm hearing. And for some of the DJs that are listening on the outside, people watching on the Facebook Live, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Everyone on iliveradio.com. We're here with DJ D Jones and talking to him about things happening in the event industry. He's from Chicago, USA. Things are similar as here, but running a little bit differently. So, Darrell, I just want to let you know that in about 3 minutes, we're going to take a break at the top of the hour. I have a few more questions to ask you, and then I'm going to end on this rapid fire section. But I guess one question I wanted to ask you is, what's one thing a new or experienced DJ can learn that will assist them in their craft as a performance DJ? What's maybe one thing that really stands out?
I'm a big fan of phrasing. So phrasing is basically not, it's like for one, counting bars, but actually phrasing. And are we talking technique here or business? Just technique?
Yeah, I mean anything. Okay. Could be anything. What, just something that you think a newer experienced DJ could benefit from?
Phrasing. You got to be able to stop and switch out and transition songs in places where it makes sense to the people that are listening. Like, I hear like great mixing, but then you'll be right at a part of a song, like in the middle of the verse, and people just like cut out. To me, wow. Like, phrasing is like the basic skill set. Like, you got to be able to know when to get out of the song.
Right. And this is,
and you can look that up.
Yeah. I mean, I think for all the listeners, the phrasing is, now, I guess teaching, this is something that I've noticed that a lot of beginner DJs have an issue with. So phrasing, the way I look at it is kind of like if you stretch out a song, is actually understanding every song has an intro, it has a verse, it has a chorus, it has a verse, has a chorus again, and then the outro of the song. So there's specific parts of that song where a DJ should learn to be mixing in order to ensure that the listener has a super pleasurable experience and is kind of blending two songs together to kind of create a really, they're using two songs together sometimes to make actually a third sound. And with that vibration that you're creating, that's the thing that should get the crowd the energy up, the crowd going, but it's like that really smooth blending and mixing of those tracks together. That's really a signature element of what a DJ does when they're guiding the dance floor. So it's super critical that a DJ understands that, as well as another thing called split hearing, which is hearing the music outside for others, but also understanding what you're hearing to bring in the next song. Listen, we got 5 seconds. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back with
This
DJ
is
D.
Jamie
Jones.
Sparks, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Hey, this is Jermaine Robbins, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Yo, this is Kiana O'Quinn, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
This is Lavinia J from the UK, and you're listening to iLive Radio.
Hey, what's going on, everybody in cyberspace? This is the Groove Show with your boy, the crowd pleaser, DJ Mark Anthony. Don't forget, each and every Saturday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m., we want to put you in the mood for whatever the night has in store. I'm playing only the best feel-good, party rocking, body-shaking music from funk to soul to reggae to R&B, house to salsa, and much, much more. We call it The Groove each and every Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. Keep it locked. It's the crowd pleaser, baby. You know how we do. We'll see you on the air. Peace.
Attention à tous les musiciens, groupes, associations, clubs et organisations qui représentent les styles collectifs de musique à travers le Canada. Le moment est venu de reconstruire nos genres de nations musicales collectives comme le hip-hop, le R&B, le jazz, le soul, le reggae, le gospel et plus unis. La Nation de la musique collective est une organisation à but non lucratif engagée dans le développement de la musique collective. Des adhésions gratuites sont disponibles dès maintenant. La Nation de la musique collective, une seule voix, la force dans l'unité.
Hey. Hello and welcome. It's your girl Claude, aka Miss Out, right here on iLive UK. Be sure to tune into my shows each and every Saturday between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. My shows are called The Independent Injection because you can expect to hear deep and meaningful, fresh neo and bassline soul, slow jams and gospel mixed with a little bit of nostalgia. I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.
You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is the Music is Everything podcast with your host, DJ Elegance. We are here with DJ D. Jones from Chicago, USA. He is a in-demand DJ in his market, and he has blessed us with his presence this evening. He is the also owner and operator of Spark Entertainment, an entertainment group in Chicago where he has a brand and an umbrella where he supplies talent to corporate clients, people in the club industry, and also weddings. And we're just talking with him a little bit about his come up, his journey into DJing, what he's been doing during COVID, and now kind of talking a little bit about maybe some advice and some tips that would be helpful for young DJs. I know we rolled up at the top of the hour very quickly as I was explaining some signature elements that are crucial for DJs to learn, which is phrasing and also split hearing, which is kind of, again, understanding and hearing music in your headphones while also balancing the track that's going out live for the audience and kind of negotiating that in your mind to create a smooth, seamless blend. DJ D. Jones, you still there with us?
I am.
Awesome. So, again, the podcast is all about sort of archiving journeys of DJs. We've had event planners, we've had engineers, we've had producers, we've had quite a variety of individuals on the podcast. And part of it is definitely leaving some tips and some advice because there's people who are kind of coming up in the industry. There's oftentimes I may get hit up by DJs who have been in the field for a while, but they're looking to rebrand or kind of take themselves in a bit of a different direction. I'm curious. I know that prior to COVID, having chatted with you, that you would routinely do well over 150, 160 events a year. And that, as you mentioned, you have kind of crossed that line of being a nightlife, corporate, wedding, and private scene DJ, which is, I don't know if people fully can appreciate the musical dexterity needed to kind of balance all those different competing interests in terms of age and race and background? Your musical knowledge must be really, really big. But I'm curious because it sounds like you have a multi-op, right, that you're running. And I'm just curious, what's one lesson that's been helpful for you to succeed at this point?
One lesson I guess you could say it's a multi-op. Definitely, I always go away from what the standards are. But one lesson that I have learned is you have to properly vet as best as you can the people that you decide to team up with and work with, because they represent your brand and ultimately you. I've learned the hard way by being nice, actually.
Okay.
That people will bring their personal habits, ways of dealing with things on a professional level to your work and your business, and ultimately your clients will tell you that, hey, this happened, this was not to our likings. And I've had a client, just most recently, I've had to let go of one of my AV people.
Okay.
And over a completely inappropriate, I'll just say it had to do with harassing a female at an event. Had to do with drinking at an event. And I had talked to this person, but when I say that I was nice, it's my fault, because everyone told me prior to bringing this person on board that it was bad. But I was like, nah, his skills were immaculate. Nobody did this person's job as good as this person could do the job. It's just when that person wasn't working or had anything active to do, that's when all the bad things would come out. And I was a nice guy, and I ultimately wound up kind of paying the price of embarrassment, apologizing to someone. And it was that behavior took place at a venue that is one of my venue partners. I'm on their preferred vendors list. And these people probably send me, I don't know, 20, 30 leads a year, maybe. I don't know. And the point is, it was just bad, and I could have prevented it had I been more of a astute boss or business owner. I don't like to consider myself a boss, to be honest. I like to say that everybody I work with, we're teammates. We are all independent contractors, and I'm just another client of yours. That's how I look at the DJs and other people I work with on my team. We all know what we have to do, but sometimes you got to put that boss's hat on if you're planning on growing your business. And being a boss isn't always pleasant. Yeah, it's not.
No, I can definitely relate and understand to that. Understand that. There's a few questions that are just kind of going through my mind in regards to that. I mean, I guess I know you said you were able to sort of issue an apology. I guess moving outside of this incident, have you had other incidents where maybe there's some advice or tips on how you may have negotiated a situation, or what's the word I'm looking for? You were able to kind of turn around maybe a bit of an unpleasant experience, maybe either it was for the venue or the client itself. How do you deal with an unhappy venue or an unhappy client? What have you found has worked in past to kind of rectify a situation where maybe the venue or the client was maybe displeased with the service or the way things happened throughout the evening? How have you been able to kind of smooth things over? What have you found has worked?
Well, I will say that I do consider us a luxury entertainment provider. I think the first thing you want to do as a service provider is listen. So when that client has been upset, or they're not happy with something, this is not an opportunity as a service provider to correct your client and tell them they're wrong or give them an excuse. You have to listen. So I've been complimented by some of the younger people on my team, the younger DJs, like, man, you're always level-headed. You always kind of smooth things over. Because the client ultimately is who you're working for. Whether they're right or wrong, in my opinion, they're right, because they're hiring you. And at that point, in time, as long as it's something feasible that you can do, you should do it. So I listen, first and foremost. I will, if we're wrong, if it's something we've done wrong, then I will typically compensate by either offering something else, or if it's the day of and there's nothing else we can offer but a excellent time, we're giving 110% until we play that last song. It's all about honestly giving people value and making people feel like they got their money's worth. I've had situations where I have left our storage facility where we store all of our equipment at without a specific light that someone paid for. I will send them their money before I even get to the venue because I realize we're too far out. We can't go back. It's going to compromise the event. There's no one who can bring it. We have to just pay these people back their money. And I just tell people, honestly, I tell people straight up, this is what happened. Can't do it. My apologies. We've refunded XYZ. I remember one time there's somebody had paid like an extra $250 for a go-go. And we literally left the projector the night before at another venue and could not access it.
Oh, wow.
The next day I had to, and I couldn't rent one. I didn't know who to call. And that's a major part of someone's visual part of their event, at least. And I just had to be honest with those people. Like, yo, we don't have it. My apologies. This is what happened. I refunded the money. And make sure everything you do the rest of the night is top notch.
You got to knock it out the park at that point, right?
Yeah, I just think that you have to be sincere with people.
Yeah.
One thing I will tell you this. One thing I did learn as I was researching wedding DJing specifically, or just DJing on a business level, you need to get vested with your clients from day one.
Right.
Because if you do mess up 200 days later at their actual event, they'll remember all of the other good things you did 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
And all of the times you've been there for them, and they'll be like, hey, no problem, because you've been actually one of the better vendors we worked with.
Right.
And that's part of what I do. So my part of what I do is I kind of build in my insurance with people from day one, because we never know what's going to happen. We're all human. We all do make mistakes. And so if you get very cool with people, you deliver a great service, you're providing all of the support you promised to provide them when you were first trying to get the booking, 9 out of 10 times, if you do make a mistake, they're cool with it on the night of, because you have been stellar throughout the rest of the experience. You're talking about clients that you talk to. Some people I talked to for a year and a half before their event.
Wow. Yeah.
So every time you talk to them, you're building a rapport.
Yeah.
So do your best to build the best rapport with these people, just in case you're not perfect that night.
No, I think it goes a long way. I think at the end of the day, people they're buying you, I guess, for the night, your skill set, right? And the confidence that you bring, and the way that you're able to manage their event and articulate to them that you are, how you can be effective, and the results that you've gotten. So I definitely see that, like that, being personable, the accountability, being really transparent the whole way through. I think probably as well, people, I would assume, I mean, yeah, if you're going to give them back their money, there shouldn't be anything for them to complain about at that point. Obviously, they may be a little bit salty or upset, but as you said, if you kind of hit the other elements of things out the park, then the client should still be happy with your performance in terms of what you've done. So I think that personalization goes a long way.
Knock on wood, we still maintain a 5-star rating across all review sites.
Yes.
I'm like on pins and needles every year. Like, is this going to be the year where, you get even like the bad review would be like 4.7 or 4.5.
Right.
Honestly, I try to treat people like I want to be treated. So when I go places, I love great service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
I think it's a sign of respect too. I think when you give people great service, it shows that you're being professional. It shows that you care about what you're doing. It shows that you're being present and not just going through the motions. I mean, people are paying for a service. I mean, they have a right to have a bit of an expectation from you. And I think you showing up on time, you being pleasant, you listening to them, and then you delivering on what you said, that is the bare minimum. That's the bare minimum, right? So you should be able to do that, right? And obviously everything else just wows the client that much more. So that shouldn't be a tall order to ask. But as we do know, at the end of the day, we're dealing with people, right? And not every vendor has that level of commitment and passion. And sometimes that's what makes it difficult for individuals who are so passionate about being in this industry, right? You know what I mean? So that I think that's something that we just have to remember, right? But again, as I always say, the cream does rise to the top, right? So I think it's quick to see those who are in it maybe for a quick cash grab, or they're just not up to that level where they're really bringing more value for the client's event, right?
Can we talk about that really quick?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got a couple minutes still.
So like value, people always like when they talk weddings, like I talk to other DJs like who maybe they don't do weddings, but they want to kind of do weddings. They're like, yeah, you could charge people a whole lot of money, right? And I'm like, you could, but what do you offer for that?
Right.
Unless you have a celebrity status, you can't just charge somebody $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a wedding. You can't. You could, but you're not going to work a lot.
Right.
And so maybe you work twice, 3-4 times a year. Maybe you get lucky. But what do you offer? You need to be able to bring some things to the table, some unique offerings to the client as well. Value is still important no matter how great your reputation is. People do want value. Part of that is investing in your equipment, your processes. There's a lot to be said about value. I go the other way for DJs that are strictly like, yo, I'm just starting out, but if I do a wedding, I want top dollar because it's a wedding. That's not what it's about, bro.
Right.
You need to get your skill set up and your offerings and give people value.
So here's a question I had from someone on the outside. I want to thank my sister Dahlia. So she had a question because I think, it's an interesting conversation. I think sometimes I know even for myself, I've communicated that like the value is sort of myself and the skill set that I bring to bear. But at the same time, you do want additional things to offer the client. So here's a question from Dahlia. She said, how do you navigate clients that want your services but also want you to give them a discount?
We don't discount. We don't discount on requests for no reason at all. We discount off-peak days. If your wedding's on a Sunday through Thursday, you're getting 15% off. I shouldn't say unfortunately, we don't discount. I feel that our prices should be actually higher than what they are. But because right now I'm trying to transition, but kind of COVID kind of threw that off. But I wanted to transition from more of a volume provider. Last year we booked 221 events. Excuse me. I want to become more of a provider that provides a little more distinguished service. So I look for that number to go down.
Right.
But I look for our bookings to go down a little bit, but I look for the quality of the event. Like every time you see us, he's like, wow, this is a big wedding or a big event. Like I look for that. So that's the goal. But COVID kind of slowed that down. So I kind of kept our same price model and structure for the majority of this year. But we don't offer discounts on request.
Okay. So there you have it, Dahlia. It's no discounts, maybe if it's an off-peak time. And I think this is an important thing because I know that, hey, what's up, Miss Leck? What's going on? I know that for a lot of people, I've kind of had this conversation where I've commented several times is that I understand it's a micro wedding, but it doesn't necessarily mean that now the budget becomes micro as well. Like, again, you are still paying for the entertainment, right? And people do remember the food and the music the most at a function. So, I think it's just a reminder for everybody who's out there on the outside is, no discounts, hold your ground, just offer lots of value. Think about how you can break down your services and really communicate to the client the value that you bring to bear on their event. So, Go ahead.
To be transparent,
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned micro weddings. So no discounts on it being a micro wedding. But what I did do, I rolled this out last month, mid-month. I just created a small package, literally 2 speakers, speaker scrims, speaker stand scrims, a table and a controller, and that is it. And I reduced that price $300 from our normal basic package that we offered.
Right.
I did that just to hopefully answer the call and have an option to offer people who asked about micro weddings. Because before I was just saying, no, we're not reducing price because it takes a lot for us to come out, man. It takes time. I got to pay somebody. So if it's just a 2-speaker deal and it's 50 people, backyard, I reduce the price. If honestly, I could probably set it up myself.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Yeah, no,
so
that's super basic.
Something like, it's super basic. So something like that, I came up with it, but that's there. And then I have stipulations. You only can book that package like 60 to 90 days in advance. You can't book next year.
Right.
No.
That's
it's strictly for COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So here's a question. We're almost at, I mean, we can talk all night, but I mean, we're here till 11. I have a couple more questions before I get into like a rapid fire section. I want to thank everyone who's listening. Music is Everything podcast. We're here with DJ D Jones, profile corporate luxury wedding DJ from Chicago, USA, joining us tonight, sharing tips and knowledge on how to navigate during COVID and how he survived in Chicago. So what I'm definitely hearing a lot is your brand has to speak powerfully to what you do in order to get that message across, bringing a lot of value, listening to the client, and really having a customer service and orientated approach to really start attracting the types of clients that you want to work with. I guess I wanted to ask you is what keeps you excited about working in the event industry? I guess particularly currently, where for a lot of people it seems that it's sort of doom and gloom. I know for myself, also being transparent, I think I'm still pretty positive and upbeat about things, but also at times a little bit frustrated. In Toronto, Canada here, what happened was our numbers were, so for weddings, it's 100 people 100 people can be there, but then it's only 50 inside. And then private events, it went from, I think, 50 to 25, and then it's actually 10 people inside because there were a few events that were tracked to the spread of COVID around private events and backyard parties and things of that nature. So it's a bit challenging because sometimes you have these conversations with people around facts over your feelings and the science versus the fear mongering. So it's kind of tricky because for me this past week, just to share personally, I did three live sessions. I did a wedding yesterday, which was amazing. I'm still getting text messages and people commenting on the job that we did last night. And then this week it'll be, it'll be all virtual. So it's like just not the same, right? But for yourself, like what keeps you excited to kind of keep forging through with the way things are right now? What keeps you going?
I will be honest. I operate on faith, man. So I believe that I've been blessed to get to a point that I could work and do this for a living full time. And to be honest, after I came to grips with what was happening in like March and April of this year, I've embraced it. I am happy. I operate in faith. So if I can work this month and some of the clients still kept their gigs on our books for this month, I'm cool with that. If I don't have anything to do, I'll build something else to work on.
Right.
I've actually had more time to break. I missed a lot of life in these last 12 years. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Personally, I have missed a lot of life. So I'm actually happy. Now, what keeps me motivated? Like, I know that I already have 177 gigs already on the calendar for next year. So it's kind of like for me, like it's not, those are not all mine, just for people in my company, but I know our company's going to work. And I know that when things open back up, when things do get better, we can leverage each and every one of those events through marketing, which will make my 2022 better.
Even better, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So like if you already have, like, say like your clients moved all their dates to 2021, you just have to make it this year.
Yeah.
Get through this year, because next year you should be busier than you were in 2019.
Right.
Because you're going to have all your 2021 clients on top of your 2020 clients back to back to back to back to back all next year. So that's what motivates me, is just like, honestly, take this time. I feel it's, despite what's going on, just for the record, and I haven't said this publicly, but I feel like I had Corona in March, or the COVID-19 in March.
Right.
And it was bad. I couldn't get tested because of my age. They wouldn't test me.
Okay.
But it was unlike anything I ever have experienced.
No, it was the same thing here in for a lot of people here. I think I may have had it in January, right? Because you were sick, and then why am I feeling not the same 2 weeks later? And then, you know what I mean? I think a lot of people experienced that before it became known for what it is. So I'm not shocked to hear this, but I appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just honestly one day at a time. Luckily, anybody that needed to, it was a little difficult. It was a little challenging navigating things the first 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
But after I figured out, like, yo, people are still calling, slowly but surely. People are still booking. People are postponing. But, bro, no one's canceling.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I think I issued one refund. I had somebody else do a chargeback on me, which was illegal. For their money. That wasn't right. But other than that, man, honestly, I'm just happy to know that next year I don't have to hustle and book a bunch of events because they're already booked.
Right.
And it's a blessing to have this. We may never have this time like this again. And I've done things with my kids. My kids are doing homeschooling right now, right?
Okay.
We didn't send them to school physically, so they're doing everything online. We went to Louisiana for a week. They worked from the Airbnb we were in for a week, but then we kind of hung out, toured Louisiana, did a couple touristy things. I'm just taking advantage of this time.
No, that's good. I think that's what we all need to do, right? And just really make the most of the days, because we don't know, right? So, but we still have to live our lives. So I think your approach is awesome, and as a result, there's definitely it's very obvious to me why you're still busy throughout this process, right? So, listen. Sorry, go ahead.
For the record, I don't want to downplay and say like I don't have days where I'm like, man, I wish we were busy. But what I didn't want to happen is kind of what happened. I didn't want to have that strong August where it seemed like we were working and then it just stops, because that's what's happening. So I would rather just go all the way or just wait.
Right.
And that's kind of like my attitude. So
Right. Yeah, I think we have to stay positive, right? I think this is definitely a marathon, and I think those that are passionate about what we do in this field are going to be the ones that, when we're able to go back to work the way we want, we'll still be there, right? And so I think there's a lot to do if you're a new DJ, an experienced DJ, or even just a creative or an entrepreneur working in the event and hospitality industry or any type of field. I mean, to take advantage of this time to really build up yourself, your brand, keep marketing, keep pushing out content. All those things are really important because you still want to remain top of mind. And on top of that, virtually, it's not for everyone, but there are opportunities there. So we want to take advantage and gain that leverage where we can. So DJ D Jones, we're kind of wrapping up our time here. I want to get to this section that I really like. It's called Rapid Fire. And simply what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question. And I don't want you to stew, ponder, overthink it too much. Just kind of fire back a response, the first thing that kind of comes to mind. So the last time I was in your city was, it's got to be at least, I think 6 years ago. I have two good friends that live there. Shout out to my boy Mark Applegren up in Naperville, as well as Dudley Thomas. He lives actually downtown by Soldier Field. So those are two of my homies that live down there. And as I mentioned to you, Toronto is our sister city. There's a lot of really parallel and very similar elements. We have a really beautiful waterfront, just like you guys. We have lots of cool attractions and things to see, just like you guys. So yeah, definitely Chicago. Honestly, if Chicago had Miami weather, I actually considered moving there. But the problem is the winters there are the same as here, very cold.
Definitely tough.
So here I've had the opportunity to indulge in this, but here's the first question for you: in your opinion, is Chicago's deep dish pizza as good as they say it is?
Every bit is good.
All right, I didn't expect anything less. What is one Chicago attraction that every tourist needs to see or visit?
The Baha'i Temple in Wilmette.
The Baha'i Temple. Okay, I've never heard that. Exactly. Your favorite sports team?
Chicago White Sox.
Okay. Your favorite artist of all time?
Of all time? Tupac.
Tupac. All right. And the last question is dream event to DJ at and why? What would be your dream event to DJ at and why?
Okay, so I want to DJ like the Oscars.
Okay.
Or like the Grammys. So I want to be like at like in between the show, the set where they go to commercial and just like in the crowd wearing a tuxedo, playing like some crazy music, like it's something like that. Like not even with the spotlight on me. I just want to be in a room providing that vibe for that level of an event.
Yes, I love it. My last two questions for you are final thoughts as we wrap up. It could be anything you want to share, comment on, something relating to our conversation tonight or not, but final thoughts. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts, man. Thank you so much. You being a fellow DJ. I am ultimately driven, motivated, and inspired by people like yourselves who reflect like the energy that I feel like I want to reflect as a DJ. The upscale vibe, always clean, always classy, but an awesome marketer. Like I am motivated by your marketing. I love seeing other people do things on a high level, man. And so I just want to take my hat off to you and say thank you for doing what you do, because honestly, we're all inspired by each other. I think that it's important that if you're on your journey, whatever your journey is that you surround, consume, take in, view what it is that you ultimately want to give off. So that means if you're on social media and you're about being like an upscale DJ or whatnot, maybe you need to unfollow the other 100 strip club DJs you follow.
Wow.
And follow like the people who embody what it is you're doing. So you can actually be focused and be motivated to get to where you're going. I just think that it's important, man, to be surrounded by people like yourselves and see that. There's another brother named Garrick, the DJ from Canada, who's reached out to me, and I've been in contact with him over the years. Shout out to him. Shout out to another DJ who actually was kind enough. I drove to Atlanta from Chicago to meet a brother named Mark Battle. And he has a company called One Sound Entertainment. And before I got to the point where I was ready to make the jump and just do this full time, I had to go see somebody in person to understand like, yo, you could really do this at this level. And Mark's a bad boy. He does a lot of big high-end weddings and events for people. So him, Torin, DJ Torin, Neil, all of those guys. And so like yourselves, man, I just want to leave with that. Like keep inspiring people. Because, bro, you never know who's watching you. And it might be the person you're thinking like, yo, I like what he's doing. Honestly, he's liking what you're doing.
No.
So just keep it up, man.
I've been in those situations, so I appreciate those words. And Garrick, he's my bro. I mean, he's an amazing guy. He's taught me a lot in the event industry in terms of attitude, approach. I owe a lot of my marketing prowess to him. Use of hashtags. I've booked clients. I've had students come to me through hashtags on social media. He was actually on the podcast. He was probably my second or third guest, and he talked about the power of using social media to really enhance your brand. So yeah, he's my dog for life, and we talk almost every other day about DJ stuff, life stuff. So yeah, he's as solid as it gets in the industry. You know how it can be, I guess, snakes and ladders, right? And a lot of people, as you mentioned, just kind of trying to do you dirty or a certain way, but he's always been super gracious and a bit of a diamond in the rough in terms of the event industry, because we know that there's some people who are a lot more self-absorbed and they're not really looking to give back or help out another fellow DJ or event partner. So yeah, nothing but good things to say about him.
I just want to leave like with this statement. I tell all the guys I work with, other DJs I talk to, man, each one teach one. Mm-hmm. So this is a big world out here, and you're in a city with 6 million people. We're in a city with like 3-4 million people, and honestly, there's enough work for everybody.
Yeah.
And when people are sincere, they just have questions. I answer questions. There are users out here for sure.
Yeah.
But if you feel like someone's genuine, they just have a question, they just need I give people the help that I wish I had. And so, yeah, each one teach one, man. I just want to leave with that. Each one teach one. We all have to pass the torch.
The last thing is I want people to be able to reach out to you. So where can people follow you if they want to email you, DM you, call you up, just follow your brand and see all the exciting things that you're doing? Where can people follow you? Drop your handles and your site and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. DJ D Jones, almost on everything. So that's DJ D is in Darrell Jones. DJ D Jones on Instagram, DJ D Jones on Twitter, DJDJones.com. You can even call 844-JONES99 if you want to book me. 844-JONES99. Bigger than the DJ D Jones brand is SparkEntertainmentGroup.com. SparkEntertainmentGroup.com. I also have an Instagram, Weddings by D Jones as well. So yeah, just DJ D Jones, and just kind of follow that, and you'll find the information you're looking for.
All right.
Yeah.
There you have it, folks. So at DJ D Jones, as well as his other handles. But find him. If you have more things you wanted to talk with him about, reach out to him. Listen, my brother, we are going to get into some music now till the top of the hour, but I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, and I definitely look forward to staying in touch with you to see all the other movements that you're making, and yeah, keep pushing it. I love what you're doing, and we need so many more professionals to continue to put our craft and the passion, the blood, the sweat, and the tears, all the things that we do to kind of keep raising the level. And this is what our podcast is about. So I appreciate you, and I look forward to chatting with you again in the future.
Hey, likewise. Thank you for the invite, man. Awesome evening, awesome time talking to you, my brother.
All right. Take care.
Peace. Yep, peace.
So there you have it, folks. We just had our conversation with DJ D Jones, profile luxury DJ in Chicago, sharing his journey, sharing with us some best practices, how to get ahead, how to maneuver, how he's been surviving things with COVID. Please, you can check me out here on my Facebook. It's actually Benjamin DeGraff, my personal name. Or you can check the replay out on the Music is Everything podcast on iliveradio.com. And you can also check it out, the Music is Everything podcast on iLive Radio on Spotify for that playback. Right about now, what we're going to do is we're going to get into about 20 minutes of music to the top of the hour. I want to thank everyone who's been rocking out with me, all the questions, all the energy, everyone on the iLive Radio community, people tuned in and dropped in on Facebook, and yeah, enjoying tonight's conversation. So guys, I appreciate you, appreciate everyone tuning in, the thumbs up, the hearts, the likes. It means everything. It literally is my oxygen. But we're going to get into some music right now and just kind of enjoy things until the 11 o'clock hour. If you're watching on my Facebook, drop me a track suggestion, and we're going to rock out and have some fun. Make sure you listen to iliveradio.com, as the Facebook police may cut me off. Here we go. Smooth out.
You've got your family and they need you there. Though I try to resist being last on your list, but no other man's gonna do. So I'm saving all my love for you. It's not very easy living all alone. My friends try and tell me find a man of my
If you know the words, just sing at home.
But each time I try, I just break down and cry. 'Cause I'd rather be home feeling blue.
A classic. Timeless classic.
You used to tell me we'd run away together. Love gives you the right to be free. You said be patient, just wait a little longer.
Yes, yes.
Just a few minutes more. Gonna get that old feeling when you walk through that door. 'Cause tonight is the night for feeling alright. We'll be making love the whole night through.
Yes, yes.
So I'm saving all my love. Yes, I'm saving all my love. Yes, I'm saving all my love for you.
I see you, TaylorMade. I see you.
No other woman is gonna love you more. 'Cause tonight is the night that I'm feeling alright. We'll be making love the whole night through.
Slow dance to the top of the hour.
So I'm saving all my love. Yeah, I'm saving all my loving. Yes, I'm saving all my love for you.
Music is Everything podcast. Here we go. Music to the top of the hour. It's your host, DJ Elegance.
DJ Elegance.
This is how we get down each and every Sunday evening. R&B flavor.
Someone who will need you, someone who will treat you right.
Here we go. Smoothed out on the R&B tip. Yes, yes, yes. We rocking out to the top of the hour. iLive Radio. Music is Everything podcast. R&B flavor. We're going to take you on a little throwback journey on this one. Don't get it twisted. We ain't playing around.
DJ Elegance.
Classic R&B flavor. Here we go, here we go, here we go.
DJ Elegance.
just kind of in a 90s R&B vibe right now.
Yes, sir. Dolce Gabbana mosquito with Donna jeans, but it slipped up and threw his rock to a fiend. He be playing like a willy cause he dressed shit up. Never knowing that his woman is in need of love. He got Versace, gold link, stomach chains.
Smooth out.
Official hairstyle, but you stuck up spot making love. Duke is weak, then he falling asleep. You on the phone with your old peeps, dying to creep between my sheets. So what you got Chanel on your feet? Hot sex on a platter makes the mission complete.
We gonna take it up a notch on this next one. We gonna get it sweaty.
DJ Elegance.
Come inside, take off your coat, I'll make you feel at home. Now let's pour a glass of wine, cause now we're all alone.
iLive Radio.
Waiting all night, so just let me hold you close to me. Cause I've been dying for you, girl, to make love to me. Girl, you make me feel real.
This is a big track. This is a big track.
We can do it till we both wake up.
It'll have you grab your heart.
Girl, you
Singing
know
out.
I'm hooked on you. And this is what I'll do. I wanna sex you up all night. I want to sex you up.
Now what you hear is not a drag, cause Mr. DJ Quick got a brand new
R&B flavor. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
to the rhythm of the ghetto streets. Check it out.
We going to the top of the hour. DJ Elegance, Music is Everything podcast.
Yeah, just a little something bubbly and tingly to have me walking around naked.
What up, Neil? What up? Everybody on the outside. Appreciate the energy.
Available to come and play. Give me a clue so I don't have to look for you. Come on, let's get down, let's get down, let's get down. Come on, let's get down. Come on, let's get down, let's get down, let's get down. Come on, let's get down, let's get down.
Yeah. Now we don't need a club, we can do it at my house. My front door's open, so homies get busted out. And ladies, if you come and leave your children at the nursery, so you get slow on the anniversary. Feel me? I dip, die. So don't be looking stupid when I unfasten your bra. You know you wanna mac this because I come stronger than the IRS whenever you done got the link one on your tax.
Here I am, staring at you.
This next track is one of my favorites.
You need one too. One is your friend. She don't look nice, but I know she will. Later on tonight. Come on, let's get down. Come on, let's get down. Let's get down. Let's get down. Come on, let's get down. Come on, let's get down.
I don't know what happened to her. She was so fly.
Boy, I trust you and all, but I've been here before you. You remind me of pain, but I can't ignore you.
Remember this video? Hair blowing.
I tried my best not to think of you. I tried just really get to play to eventually just lose to you. Can I get another chance to hold you tonight? Come on, baby. My left when things were so right. Oh, yeah. Hold you, boy, with all of my mind. Just to let you slip away. I put my heart out to you. Oh, yeah. Now it's ain't happy, even though hurting you was never my fault. Yeah. Trying to see what's in the cards for tonight. Boy,
Sing it, sing it, sing it.
chest. Now that you know just how I feel.
We just having some fun playing records.
I couldn't tell if this was real. How it feels to be hurt than to love again. Oh, no. You made it possible for me. That's why I give you it. Can I get another chance to hold you tonight? Come on, come on. So right. Hold you, boy, with all of my mind. And almost let you slip away. I put my heart out to you from now to daylight. You know hurting you was never my plan. Trying to see what's in the cards for tonight. Boy, accept this as my plea.
DJ Elegance.
Girl, you made me believe again. If you happy, then be with him. Go ahead, mommy, breathe again. Go ahead, mommy, breathe again. Don't stop now, straight to the top now. Go ahead, mommy, make it hot now.
R&B flavor.
I need love that's gonna make my heart stop now. And what I need is simple. 5'5" with dimples, potential wife credentials. Know about the life I'm into, life I've been through, and how I had a trifling mental. So ride with me, G4, fly with me. Times get hard, cry with me.
This is how we get down each and every Sunday night. Music is Everything podcast.
Let's make love while we listen to Frank White. So tight, now I understand life. Yeah, take that. Come on.
DJ Elegance.
No ceilings, you can see who's in it. Oh, if we're talking about sex, girl, you know that I invented that. And I'm on to the next. That's unless you bring a friend who with it. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you mad that I came to the party? Like, no, no, no. We took your girl to the club and now she gone. Now she asking me when I'm taking her home. I told her let's go, long as you know, cause I know when we get alone, I'm touching you tonight. I'm loving you tonight. Wait, no, I'm crushing you, girl. You must be used to spending, putting in that time, touching, loving, crushing. Can't make up my mind.
Oh my God.
My patience, cause we've been going over and over again. Girl, I just wanna take you home and get right to it. No one gotta kiss it, baby, give it.
Here we go, here we go.
Now. You know that I just wanna make love. Want you to scream and shout. And baby, we're now deep in it. Now, I'ma slow it down, cause ain't no speed limit. When we're moving at the speed of sound, we gon' turn all the way up when the lights down. Why you too good, Miss Slade? Going with that booty up, baby, when I want, you know I'ma go get it. You know your feelings never getting in the way. You know I'm kinda like it when you make me work for it. Hey, you got without it tied up skirt.
Music is Everything podcast, iLive Radio. This is how we do.
We don't need nobody watching us. No eyes but your eyes. Ain't nobody here but you and me. Licking your private parts. And I know you love your privacy. You don't need a shower, you already wet. Know the power telling me I ain't ready yet. I say, it fits my fears, baby. When I lick it up with tears in it. Put my face in it, eat it like a dinner date. You know I love foreplay, 12 play, everything. No, my loving don't change. I don't really give up what a hater say. Cause you fine, baby. And it's alright, cause you're all mine, baby. Ooh. Girl, I'ma let you get
Yes, yes, yes. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in tonight on the iLive Radio podcast. Music is everything. Your host, DJ Elegance. I want to thank my guest, DJ